Hello, and welcome back to It Was a Dark and Stormy Book Club.
We are your hosts,
Ann Dark.
and Tracy Stormy.
Welcome back. Today we are here to do our first book review. I'm excited.
Me too.
Because this has been in the works for quite a while, and we've been very diligently reading and trying to...
That's not hard to do. We pretty much read all the time anyway.
I know, but I want to make it sound like it wasn't that easy. Our book, I hope you've read it. If you haven't, please stop here, go finish the book, and then come back. We will be here, I promise.
I also want to make sure that everyone remembers from our premiere episode that we will discuss the ending of the book. We would hate to spoil that for you.
And we'll also discuss some of the red herrings and the things that would ruin it for you if you haven't read the book. It really would be the best thing to do is listen to the book first. Or, I'm sorry, read the book first and then listen to the podcast.
Nantucket Five Spot.
Stephen Axelrod.
So let's start with telling you a little bit about Mr. Axelrod.
He is a house painter. How about that? And a writer. He lives on Nantucket. He received his MFA, which is Master of Fine Arts, at Vermont College of Fine Arts. And he was born in New York, raised in New York and Hollywood. His father, George Axelrod, was a screenwriter. His works were, one of the better known was Breakfast at Tiffany's. And
Manchurian Candidate.
Yes, he comes from a good pedigree for mystery writing. Manchurian Candidate was a mystery.
Yes, it was. But I was thinking Breakfast
at Tiffany's, not so much. No. But
I'm sorry, she kind of threw me there for a minute.
Okay. Sorry. His bio says that he paints houses and writes books sometimes at the same time, which irritates his customers.
I'd kind of like to witness that.
I would too. See him writing the pages of his book in paint on the side of a house. Sounds kind of interesting. Go ahead.
Well, let's jump into just a little bit about the book. If you read it, you're not going to need this, but some people are going to skip the book. So we'll just give you a brief synopsis.
Overview. Henry Kenneth is the police chief on Nantucket, and the summer is starting where Nantucket is an island. Nantucket is a beautiful island. It's off the coast of Cape Cod, Massachusetts. It is 14 miles long and about 3.5 miles wide. It has a year-round population of about 11,000, but during the summer months, it swells to over 50,000 people. Some of the people who come to the island are America's most wealthy and most prominent citizens. The island has no bridge, so the only way you can get there is by boat. There is a ferry and by airplane. The place itself becomes almost a character in this book.
It's a police procedural for most of it.
Yes, it does kind of switch away from being a police procedural. But the gist of the story is, and if you have read the book, you are aware, Henry Kenneth is patrolling, trying to keep the summer influx of visitors to the island under control when a bomb threat comes in to bomb the Boston Pops concert, which is held every year on the 4th of July, where everyone on Nantucket comes to the harbor to witness this very famous concert. He needs to find out who's doing this and why. He has to call in the Joint Terrorism Task Force which is made up of Homeland Security, the CIA, FBI, FEMA, the National Guard, and Coast Guard. He thinks at first that it is a prank by local teenagers, but he does have to follow the protocol and call in the big guns. They come in the form of two people he's well aware of, John Tornavich and Franny Tate. They're both with Homeland Security. They take over the investigation on the island. John Tornavich and Henry Kenneth go back several years when they were in Los Angeles together. Tornavich has a reputation for being kind of a blowhard, and he likes to do little work but take the credit for everything that's done. Franny Tate is his assistant. Now, she and Henry, quote, almost, unquote, had an affair when they were in Los Angeles, but they were both married, so that never happened. But she's here on the island investigating the bomb threats, and she is single, and so is Henry. The story escalates into a search for the culprit. There are red herrings and clues going 6 different ways to Tuesday, and different people are being accused. Tornavich comes across and starts accusing people. As soon as he gets to the island, he decides who he thinks is guilty, and there is evidence pointing to these people, but Henry quickly convinces him that he couldn't be guilty. But Henry wants to find out who's doing the bomb threats and setting off. There are 2 bomb explosions, and it builds up and up and up. There's a third character named Zeke Beaumont who has a storyline. He is an ex-soldier who was running drugs in the Middle East and went to prison. Cohorts in his drug gang they got promotions, and he went to prison, and he's very angry. This all builds up and builds up. Of course, you can tell by the storyline, the climax is going to be on the 4th of July. The climax happens on the fireworks barge out in the harbor, and Zeke Beaumont is going to set off the bomb that will go off at the climax of the William Tell Overture, which ends the Boston Pops concert. After Henry overtakes Zeke Beaumont and takes care of him, Zeke's phone rings. When Henry answers the phone, he says, "Hi, Scooter." Of course, it is John Tornavich. He is the bad guy. And
so the question is answered.
Who is Scooter? It's Tornavich. It was a surprise to some, but like I said, I kind of had that idea. It was a good climax to the story, and there's a little bit more after he realizes who he is, but the story wraps up quite neatly. That's basically the story. I don't want to till we get to the discussion.
But I think now we'll give you our cast of characters that forms this this torrid tale.
Yes. The first, of course, is Henry Kenneth. He's a poet. He's the police chief on Nantucket. He's only been on Nantucket for about 3 years. And just as an aside, the first book in the series, which is Nantucket Sawbuck, does not deal with his time in Los Angeles. It does deal with his time on Nantucket. So
you don't miss any of the
You
story.
don't miss a lot of the backstory about the Los Angeles part of his life.
Because we were starting to wonder if we were missing something, but I think the book did a really good job of explaining what happened in Los Angeles.
Yes. He is middle-aged. He's divorced and has 2 children who are also a little part of the story. He is an honest cop, and he has built up quite a rapport with most of the people on Nantucket. He does have to deal with some pompous people who come to visit the island, though, but he does a good job of keeping them
And then we have Hayden Krakauer, who's the Deputy Chief of Police. Army veteran who has an alcoholic problem. He is hiding the smell of alcohol with Hall's menthol drops. And if you've ever been with somebody who sucks a lot of those, yeah.
I have.
He's an avid bird watcher, which plays a part in this. And he keeps track of the migration on the island.
Then there's Billy Delavane. He's a free spirit. He's a local building contractor. He doesn't even have a cell phone. He doesn't believe in following the rules. He lives life his own way. He lives quite a bohemian lifestyle, and he is the first person who gets accused of being the bomber.
Then we have Zeke Beaumont, who was also an Army veteran, and he ran a drug operation while he was serving in the Middle East and was not backed up by his other buddies, and he ended up going to jail.
And he's very angry.
Yes.
Then we have Debbie Garrison. She's an 11-year-old girl vacationing on the island with her mother. She has a strong attachment to Billy Delavane, and she follows him everywhere.
It's a little creepy, but
yeah.
Hey. And now we have John Tornavich, who Mom discussed in her synopsis. He is the head of the Homeland Security team that ends up coming to the island. He was in Los Angeles when Henry was on the force there, and they definitely do not like each other.
Nope.
And it comes across very clearly. He does little work, but likes to take a lot of credit, and don't we all know somebody like that? He likes to be the person who stands in front of the camera while everybody else has to scramble around and do all the work.
Franny Tate is his assistant, as I said before. She and Henry are well acquainted. She is the one who does all the work, while Tornavich takes all the credit.
Henry and her came very close to having an affair while they were in Los Angeles, but they never went through with it. They both happened to be married to other people. Tyler Gibson, he's a shady character who is renting a home on the island. He bugged the offices of the police station so he could hear all of what was going on. Tyler Gibson is not his real name. The real Tyler Gibson's body is found in the desert outside of Los Angeles.
And then we have the real mystery of the book. Scooter. I had a dog named Scooter, but
Yes, she did.
Scooter is a cohort of Zeke's. He is the one who was the drug dealer in the Middle East. He is the one who got the promotions, but he is the one who is also running the bombing operation that's going on Nantucket. So the big mystery of the book is, who is Scooter?
Yeah, that question.
And that question had to be answered.
Okay, so now you've heard our cast of characters. We've given you the synopsis of the book. So now we're going to discuss how we felt about the book. And like we said, if you'd like to submit your own review, we would love to hear it.
I liked this book. I liked the way it built up the momentum. It started out a little slow. I mean, there was a bomb threat and so on and so forth. But when the bombs started going off and clues were being hit here and pointing to this person and that person, it just started rolling and it got faster and faster and faster. And then the big climax of the book was what I liked the best about it. I just liked the way it all came together.
I also enjoyed this book. I really enjoyed the way Mr. Axelrod took the past and kept building it up until you knew it was heading towards something. And the way he did it was he started with 10 years ago, then he did 10 months